Welcome back to Notes from the Shelf, where every book finds its reader. I'm Sarah, and today, Book of the Month has finally dropped. I've been waiting for it for a couple days now. I feel like usually it is a little earlier than the first of the month, but it's out today, so we're gonna go through it. So it looks like there are 7 options for the main pick. So first one is Main Characters by Bobby Palmer. It's a contemporary fiction. What does it say on the cover? Some love stories are bigger than just two people. So is it like a multiple romance? I don't know. It'd be an early release if you get it from Book of the Month. In this innovative love story, the romance between an actor and a director takes center stage. Lights, camera, action. I feel like that is not a good thing to do between an actor and their director. I guess it probably happens, but that doesn't seem like a good option. This has romance, multiple viewpoints, emotional, and literary. Clara and Seb are about to fall in love. They don't know it yet, but everybody else does. When Clara and Seb meet in a quiet corner of London, it's the start of something. She wants to be a director, he's an actor, unsure what he wants from life. Their connection is magnetic. Everyone can see that falling in love looks something like this. But when Clara casts Seb in the film that will make her name, what should be the happiest time of their lives ends with a gut-wrenching betrayal. Oh, what happens? Some love stories are bigger than just two people. This one is told through the eyes of friends, flatmates, exes, and strangers who see all the sides of Seb and Clara, from their first date to the moment they fell apart. Everyone has their version of events, but only Clara and Seb can decide how their story ends. Oh, so it's probably told from multiple viewpoints. Well, it does say that, multiple viewpoints. No content warnings. That kind of sounds interesting to tell their love story from everyone who's observing it, because everyone's going to have their own version of the story. I do wonder what the betrayal was and who betrayed who. So I am interested, but it's just not really something I typically go for. Next option is The Children by Melissa Albert. It's a gothic fiction. I really like that cover. It does remind me of old children's stories cover. In this atmospheric horror, reality is warped and memory can't be trusted. It's a whole new haunted house story. Not multiple realities. Family drama, creepy, non-linear timeline, and magical. Guinevere Sharp has 2 childhoods. In one, she lives in the wooded shadow of her family's isolated Vermont farmhouse. In the other, the pages of her mother's world-famous Ninth City books, where her magical adventures have made her a household name. In reality, Guinevere's childhood isn't the enchanted idyll her mother's readers imagine. She and her older brother are growing up near feral, unwashed, and underfed, escaping each day to the lichen-clotted woods they've made their playland. As Edith Sharp's books explode into epic popularity, the threats of a rural childhood give way to the escalating perils of fame, until the night it all goes up in flames, leaving Edith's series unfinished and her children the sole survivors. Now an adult coasting on her mother's name, Guinevere is mid-promotion for a ghost-written memoir when her estranged brother, an artist who has until now spurned his family's legacy, announces an upcoming installation titled Mother. Ooh. As rumors swirl around a death connected to his last show, unsettling recollections from Guinevere's childhood begin to surface. Her public facade starts to crack, forcing her to confront the questions she's spent the last 20 years running from. What really happened the night of the fire, and what dark history lies behind their mother's creative genius? No content warnings. That's interesting. Creepy. Is it? So it's a what's a gothic fiction? Scary. I don't know. Is there some entity that's cursed the family, or is the brother a serial killer? Could go either way. Next option is The Shrouded Queen by Ashley Tropea, fantasy. I like the runes and the hieroglyphs on it. It's interesting, the combination of the two. In this Egyptian-inspired fantasy, roles are reversed, relationships are tested, and expectations are defied. This is over 400 pages, first in the series, multiple viewpoints, and salacious. As a slave to the Ashoran royals, Samira has always known she was expendable. So when the vicious Caldfolk attack the palace, she's ready to die as a decoy for her princess. But when she's captured instead, she's forced to impersonate the princess and survive through brutal trials designed to awaken her divine powers, all under the watch of her dangerously intriguing, shape-shifting captor. Amenet Kata, now queen of Ashura, is on the run following the king's death. With only her guard with benefits, Jassim, by her side, she must evade treacherous allies while racing to contact her father, the god of the underworld, before her long-promised powers slip beyond reach. While Amenet embarks on a quest through the wastelands, Samira learns the true reason for the attack and unlocks secrets in her past that could change everything. And with threats growing on all sides, Samira and Amenet must decide who can they trust. I feel like I've heard of this one, but also it's not familiar at all for some reason. Sounds familiar, but I would read that. I'm not sure. I wonder how many books will be in this series. Like how many are planned. But I am interested in that. I used to love Egyptian like mythology and reading about the history of Egypt, so I could see reading that one. Next is Summer's Never Over by Darby Bozeman. This is a debut and a mystery. What does this say on the cover? No, what? Not all their secrets are lost to the fire. I think that's what it says. Something like that. I can't read that word, but it says not all their secrets, something lost to the fire. Summer camp packing list. Sleeping bags, more supplies, and an alibi for the night of the fire that ruined it all. Ooh, yeah. So it is like something, a fire happens. Ooh. At a summer camp? And it's a romance. Well, it says mostly mystery, but I guess there's romance in there. Nonlinear timeline, family drama, and female friendships. 5 years ago, Greer left her family's summer camp in the mountains of Georgia and vowed she'd never return. An idyllic season had turned into a nightmare after a mysterious phantom began stalking the camp, and ended with Greer's friend and fellow counselor dead. Ooh. Losing Steph shattered everything, and Greer's been fleeing from the grief ever since. But then Greer's mother dies, and Greer finds herself back at Dread's Cove, surrounded by the people she was closest to that intense summer. 2 ex-boyfriends, one a childhood sweetheart, the other the guy she's never gone over, and old friends, including Margot, Steph's best friend. Greer and Margot didn't leave things on the best of terms, but now Margot needs her. Margot never believed that Steph's death in that horrific fire was an accident, and she's on the trail of an explosive secret Steph took to her grave. Greer has to make a choice, keep the Cove's secrets and her own, or finally face the truth about that summer. Greer. I don't know. Sounds interesting for a woman's name, but I'm not sure I'm very interested in this one though as a whole. Could see reading it, but not getting it as my book of the month. Next option is The Misconnection by Tia Williams, which is a romance. I like the cover a lot. When she met him on the plane, it was love at first flight. Can she find her charming seatmate and maybe herself too? Multiple viewpoints, salacious, movie-ish, and friends to lovers. See how that goes. Sasha Cruz knows types. As a booked and busy casting agent, she's always casting. At happy hour, the grocery store, everywhere. She's all about finding the perfect person to slot into the perfect role. What she doesn't do, however, is relationships. Too much energy, not enough time. On a flight to Paris for work, a chance encounter with her type changes everything. Sasha is seated next to a broodingly attractive mystery man, and sparks fly, but they never exchange contact information. See, missed opportunity there. Convinced she's lost out on her soulmate, Sasha emails her work friend for help, but accidentally writes to the entire company worldwide. Worldwide? How do you copy the whole company worldwide? How do you type in your friend's name and then you send it to literally everyone? That doesn't make any sense. The international manhunt to find Seat F begins. Oh. Meanwhile, Sasha takes matters into her own hands. She hires a smoldering detective she knew in another lifetime, who complicates matter in unforeseen and irresistible ways. Oh, so it's like two different options for her. That's fun. With a worldwide search underway, will love take flight for Sasha? I'm already calling it. She's gonna fall in love with the detective. She's not gonna care about Seat F once she gets closer to this detective. That's crazy that she sent it to the whole company. I don't know how that would happen. I don't see at all how you could send it to the whole company instead of just one person. I'm gonna have to read it just for that, just to see how they explain that, but I'm not gonna get it as my book of the month though. Next is The Low Job by Grace Alexander, contemporary fiction. Everybody's talking about The Low Job. In a cheeky debut of Sisters, Secrets, and Sudden Stardom, how low will one family go for its taste of the high life? Multiple viewpoints, salacious, family drama, and infidelity. When Lily Lowe gets caught having an affair with her married boss, an admired local politician, she finds herself at the epicenter of a scandal that could dismantle her life as she knows it. She turns, as many women would, to her mother. But Lydia Lowe is not the kind of mother to offer gentle words of consolation. Instead, she devises a strategy that doesn't just manage the fallout, it actively exploits it. Oh. And Lily goes from making coffee and booking meetings to making headlines and booking talk shows. Yeah, that's true. That could work. Soon, thanks to the commodification of Lily's scandal, the whole world knows the Lowe family. I wouldn't like that though. She has three sisters, Stevie, Iris, and Katie, have differing reactions to being in the spotlight. But once the wheels are turning, it seems impossible to stop what's in motion. And it doesn't take long for the craziness surrounding the Lows to spiral out of control. Yep. Money and celebrity, the Lows discover, come at a price. Sometimes the louder one's voice, especially a woman's, the more others will seek to silence it. That's true. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be doing that. I mean, I could see if, like, Lily was an only child and her mother says, okay, we're going to do this, but to bring in her three sisters into the mess, I would not be very happy. No content warnings. The last option is Nymph by Sophia Montrone. It's a debut and it's a literary fiction. I like this cover a lot too. Dreamlike and lyrical, this coming-of-age meets sapphic love story captures the messy, sentimental bits of growing up. Okay, it's emotional, salacious, LGBTQ plus themes, and coming of age. I hope it's not that salacious if it's a teenager, but okay. To 10-year-old Leo, life is a collection. She spends her mornings tidying the rooms of her nonna Tina's time-worn Italian agriturismo. I do not know Italian. Carefully accumulating the curious bits of left-behind detritus from guests. A pearl earring, a lock of hair. Her nights are suffused with gathering the stories that flow from her father's lips, liquor-spun tales of Odysseus and the Trojans and secret battle. But when an accident rips the gentle membrane of Leo's childhood, she is left vulnerable to the pains and pleasures of growing up. Okay, good. Years later. In a sultry summer, not unlike the many that came before, the agriturismo is the only place that remains the same. Nonna Tia has grown older, Leo's brother Max is intractable and mercurial, and the curiosity Leo so loved to feed as a child has turned into something more confusing. When she meets Dolores, an American girl made brilliant by Leo's perception of her, she can't help but gather all the experiences first love promises, while shedding parts of the past she no longer fits into. I don't know, sounds kind of interesting, but I'm not sure I would get that one. I'm kind of between main characters and The Shrouded Queen. I do think there were other books, though. I thought there was there's an offset, and Catcher in the Rye is the Centennial Edition. The offset is The Worry Doll by Laura McPhee-Browne. It's in the middle of the deviation, acute, not full tilt. That's funny. I like that. For anyone who understands the power of an unanswered text, Worry Doll is a kaleidoscopic, shifting novel that gives two twisted accounts of the same relationship. Read if you seek a dual narrative that explores the sinister side of love and the grip of delusion, or if you love playing two truths and a lie. It's also not available in the US or Canada besides Book of the Month. I am considering this one. The Angle, Sapphic Spiral, Unreliable Narrators, and Read Receipts. Oh, there is a synopsis. On an ordinary day, two women meet on a train. Heloise, the older woman, lives with her boyfriend in Melbourne. Lacey, the other woman, is from Aotearoa. Aotearoa, I think is how you say it. I've heard of it, but I've never said it. And she studies the clouds. What follows is anything but ordinary, a passionate affair that will consume them both in mismatched and maddening ways. I don't know, I loved The Sun Was Electric Light. I loved Discontent. I did not read these other offsets, but I am thinking of getting this one. So those are kind of the main picks. Let's see about the add-ons. New and recent add-ons. So it looks like there's 7 new add-ons to choose from. First is Hopeless Necromantic, which says Who Said Romance Was Dead? That's funny, by Shiloh Breyer. It's a fantasy debut. I have heard a lot about this actually. I feel like I've seen it a lot on TikTok, and I don't know if that's good or not, but a necromancer, his skeletal BFF, and their spunky new demon friend explore life, death, and everything in between. Multiple viewpoints, graphic violence, LOL, and romantasy. 4 years ago, Sycris Cat's Eye Nikabad had it all. A beautiful wife, friends and family, and the endless luxuries that came with being the all-powerful necromancer to the queen. Now, his brother-in-law is a walking corpse, he's wanted for tax evasion, his oldest friend Vesic has slaughtered thousands of the queen's people with a skeleton army, and his wife is dead. Sort of. Oh my god. That sounds crazy. With the kingdom under threat, it's only natural for the queen to task Sycris with the totally normal, not at all cruel chore of brutally murdering his dearest friend. Oh. Sure, great. It's not like he already failed to stop Vesic's reign of terror twice or anything. Third time's the charm, right? Turns out it's hard to kill a monster when you can't stop remembering the good man he used to be. Harder still when you're pretty sure his descent into madness is kind of, sort of, hypothetically, all your fault. Raise a glass, raise the dead, just don't raise your hopes. Oh, that's kind of sad. Okay, well, it sounds fun. I don't know if I'd buy it though. I would want to read it, maybe through the library. Another option is Lovers XXX by Allie Rowbottom, literary fiction. In this stylish, unflinching novel, two girls inextricably tangle themselves in the gritty world of the adult industry. Multiple viewpoints, female friendships, LGBTQ plus themes, and salacious. Los Angeles, 1982. Best friends Jude and Winnie are 18 and working at a strip club. Soon they progress to modeling for Penthouse and Hustler, then to shooting hardcore porn. Dazzled by the drugs, sex, and parties their new life offers, they are also beset by sexism, bitter competition, and the precarity of life on the margins. When their friendship ends in recrimination and a dramatic act of betrayal, Jude goes missing and Winnie can find no trace of her. Ooh, that's not good. 30 years later, newly divorced and down on her luck, Winnie is ready to face her past. Determined to solve the mystery of what happened to Jude, she sets out to brave the dark underbelly of the adult industry. What follows is a gutsy, propulsive look at sex and power that builds to an unforgettable revelation about love. This does have content warnings. It contains mentions of sexual assault and domestic abuse. That sounds kind of heavy. I'm not sure I want to read that right now. Another option is Dolly All the Time by Annabelle Monaghan. Romance. A sailor romance again. I mean, we just had the shippers last month. And now we have this one. He needs her for the PR. She needs him for the money. What they didn't bank on was falling for each other. Light read, mama drama, salacious, and fake dating. I do kind of like fake dating sometimes. And it's a light read. Maybe this would be a good read for the summer. If they begin by pretending, can they end with something real? Dolly Brick has never met a problem she couldn't solve. Not when her mom left when she was 12, and not at 39 when she moves with her son back to Whitfield, Rhode Island for the summer to keep her dad and brother from losing the family home. So when she comes across Stuart Whitfield, annoyingly handsome scion of the Whitfield family, with a flat tire and at the wrong end of a very public, very humiliating breakup, it's in her nature to help. But Stuart's proposed arrangement ends up being more than either of them bargained for, because as public dinners and high society benefits turn into sunset boat rides and swinging on the porch, Dolly starts to feel something more than helpful. She's never relied on anyone besides herself. Can she really start now? It does sound interesting. It just sounds like a lot of romances, though. I'm not sure. I've stopped buying a bunch of romances, I guess, because once I read it, then I kind of just get rid of it. So I might read it from the library. Next is Land by Maggie O'Farrell, which is a historical fiction. I've seen this cover everywhere, and actually I love this cover. A family tugs at the unshakable link between history, place, and time throughout centuries of an Ireland in unrest. This book is highbrow. Multiple viewpoints, rugged, family drama, and magical. On a windswept peninsula stretching out into the Atlantic, Tomas and his reluctant son Liam are working for the Great Ordnance Survey project to map the whole of Ireland. The year is 1865, and in a country not long since ravaged and emptied by the Great Hunger, the task is not an easy one. Tomas, however, is determined that his map will be a record of the disaster. The British soldiers in charge are due to arrive any day, expecting the work to be completed, but Tomas is sent off course by an unsettling encounter in a copse. His life and those of his family will never be the same again. Liam is terrified by the sudden change in his taciturn father. What was it that caused such cracks to open in Tomas, and how is Liam, aged only 10, going to finish the mapping and get them both home? I don't know, I really want to read this one. I might get it as an add-on since I do have like 1 extra credit right now. Or I might just add it to my TBR and maybe get it in a future month. Another option is The One Day You Were My Husband by Rosie Walsh, which is a thriller. What happens when the one that got away turns out to be the one who you should have stayed away from? Romance, nonlinear timeline, emotional, and international. 2010, Carrie and Johan, madly in love, marry on the beach in Thailand, 5 months into their whirlwind romance. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. Carrie, a British surgical intern, knows she's being uncharacteristically impulsive but is too happy to care. But as the wedding festivities stretch into the night, armed men swarm the beach and arrest Johan for crimes unknown. In police custody, Johan refuses to see or speak to Carrie. She never sees him again. Wow. 2022, so 10 years later, or 12 years later, Carrie is settled in the English countryside with her husband Robin and their 6-year-old twins. After a difficult entry into motherhood, Carrie has given up her career as a physician and has convinced herself that life as a mother and wife is enough. Until she stumbles across an online post that makes her realize Johan is out of prison, has been out for years. As their memories of their intense, passionate relationship return to her, she becomes obsessed with discovering the truth about what happened on that beach all those years ago, even if that means putting her marriage and family in jeopardy. I don't know, it's been 12 years. She also wrote The Love of My Life. I've never read that. I would be interested to know what happened, but I would not try to get tangled up in him again. I would have researched it long before this, but that's crazy. No, I am interested to see who he is. Why was he arrested? It can't be good, but I'm probably not going to buy it just for that. So. Another option is The Midnight Train by Matt Haig, magical realism. I have been wanting to read this for sure. I'm not sure I would buy it. I read The Midnight Library. I did really like that, but I haven't read any of his others. If you could revisit old memories on the eve of your death, would you take the chance to get your life back on track? Well, if it's the eve of your death, how are you going to get your life back on track? Doesn't really make any sense. Emotional, nonlinear timeline, fast read, and cozy. Does sound good for the summer, though. When your life flashes before your eyes, where would you stop? No one can change the past, but the midnight train can take you there. The chance to relive the moments that meant most, to see what kind of person you really were. For Wilbur, his best days were with Maggie, the love of his life, on his honeymoon in Venice, before he gave it all away. He wishes he could go back and live differently, but to do so risks everything. Not a lot of I cannot talk today. Synopsis. That's not a very long one, but I don't know. I think I would also read this from the library. Last new add-on option is Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Averick. It's a romance debut. Dream job? Check. Good friends? Check. But to lose her virginity before turning 30, she'll need the ultimate checklist. Light read, movie-ish, LOL, and buzzy. Makes sense why there's cherries on the cover. Phoebe Berman fears the one thing she wants the most, love. Thanks to an extremely unfortunate first kiss attempt, crippling intimacy anxiety has plagued her since she was a teen. Oh, go to therapy. Phoebe has so much going for her. A dream teaching job, a supportive and hilarious group of best friends, and all the romance novels a girl could want at her fingertips. But she can't help but beat herself up over the one thing she can't quite seem to figure out. Determined to change this, she drafts up the ultimate guide to losing my virginity checklist with the hope of finally getting laid. Suddenly, she goes from a relatively boring, basically non-existent dating life to juggling 3 romantic prospects at once. There's the gorgeous new 4th grade teacher at her school, a former high school classmate that resurfaces through Words with Friends, and there will always be her roommate, who might just be the best friends to lovers situation of her dreams. Friends to lovers. I don't know which 3 is she gonna, which one is she gonna get with? Or is there a mystery 4th person that comes up that's not in the synopsis? I don't know. I could read it. I could see reading it. I'm not gonna buy it. For the add-on options, I'm really interested in land. I'd say that's about it that I would be willing to buy. For the main picks, I'm thinking either main characters or the Shrouded Queen. I don't know. I'll have to read the little blurb that we're allowed to read, the first sample of the chapter or whatever, but yeah, those are the picks.